All right, good morning. We have a special guest with us here today, and I'm going to let him introduce himself and then we'll get to know him a little bit more.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Robert Ross. I graduated from Polk County High School in the class of 2020. I am currently attending UTK as an accounting major.
Awesome. So, where are you right now, Robert? What's behind you?
Well, right now I'm in my dorm room, and funny enough, that's the room to my bathroom. That's the door to my bathroom. So, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So, you're at UTK, you're in your dorm, and you've already chosen a major, accounting. So, that's awesome. We're so proud of you, and it's so good to see your face this morning. And also, for you guys watching the recording, this is at 8 o'clock in the morning. So, that's a big deal for a college student to be up. And but tell me about, you told me when I asked you about this that you're trying to keep your schedule. Can you tell me a little bit about that and why that's been important to you and how that's helped you?
Okay, so one of the things that's definitely good amongst many college students is just keeping a schedule. You have to make sure that you get consistent sleep, and you have to make sure that you stay in touch with your classes and all your professors. And one of the things that I tend to do is at the beginning of every single week, at like every single Monday, I'll look through each and every single day of the week and see what's due. And then I'll create a checklist for each day to determine what I have to do that day. So, matter of fact, I have it like right here where I
That's awesome.
literally just make a checklist.
That's great.
So it's really best in everyone's best interest to just keep a schedule to the best of your ability, and especially just try to work in some personal time for yourself, because the last thing that any college student really wants to do is burn out on work. So usually I take Saturdays as a personal day. I don't work on Saturdays. I don't do anything on Saturdays.
That's good. That's really good advice. So you've been able to manage your time by making lists and checklists, and sounds like you've really stayed on top of it. What are all of your classes virtual right now? Are you doing any in-person classes?
So, with the onset of COVID, most of the classes have gone online, and it's a lot of varying categories. Okay, so you have synchronous and then you have asynchronous online classes.
Okay.
Asynchronous online classes, you don't have to come to those classes. You can watch the Zoom recording at any time, at any day. But synchronous classes, you usually do,
Okay.
um, at least to my knowledge. And
Okay.
then you have hybrid classes where like you meet 2 times a week, and then one day you go in person, and then the other day you go on Zoom. And then you have only in person, and those are like few and far between nowadays.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm currently taking one in person, one hybrid, and the rest are just Zoom.
Okay. Wow. So on top of adjusting to college, you guys are also having to adjust to college in a pandemic. So
Yes.
yeah, something that we couldn't have 100% prepared you for here in high school. You guys
Oh,
did a great job.
Lord.
Wow. So when you do the classes online, are they at the time that your class would actually be?
Usually they are. Um, they're usually at the time that they would be. Like I have one um, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's a Zoom class for my English. It's asynchronous, so I don't have to attend it at all. I usually do, but I don't have to. It's at 10:30 to 11:20 almost every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Okay.
So they're usually at like typical times. Most college classes are, um, and that really just depends on how you structure your schedule as well. Like
Yeah.
if you're not a morning person, obviously you don't have to schedule classes in the morning like me. So
That's really good advice. So, for those of us watching who are in high school or in a building, so you're here from about 8 to 3 every day, you're in the same building. What is the difference between that and then being a college student? What do your classes look like throughout the week, time wise?
okay, so this is just general advice no matter where you go, okay? Pay attention to how many classes you have per day, okay? That's like a really big deal because say for example on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays from like 10:30 to 11:20 I have English. Then from 11:45 to 12:35 I have Spanish, and then from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock I have math, and then I get an hour break with that, and then from I think, yeah, 3:30 to 4:20 I have geology, and then my day is done.
That's a big Monday, Wednesday, Friday workload.
Yes, it is. So whenever you're scheduling your classes, no matter what institution you go to, always pay attention to how many you put on each and every day.
Yeah.
The
On the
differences
flip
between it,
side, what does the Tuesday, Thursday look like?
oh, extremely free.
Yeah.
Like I only have 2 classes today, and then on Thursday I only have 1 class.
Awesome. Yeah. So, and that's good. You can structure it however you want, depending on when the classes are offered. So yeah, you may see some students that just want to have a couple classes each day. Sometimes they may load their Tuesday, Thursdays up and have Monday, Wednesday, Friday as free study days, or kind of what you've done. Monday, Wednesday, Friday seem to be your heavier days. So how do you structure your Tuesdays and Thursdays with only 1 or 2 classes?
Usually what I would do is I would go to my college because both of those are on Tuesday, both of my classes are in person. So I'd go to my college and then I'd go to my first class and then I'd stay at the college, and there's like an hour in between usually those 2 classes, and I'll just work on whatever I need to do, usually something small that takes around 45 minutes to do. And if I don't really have that much of a workload, I'll do something like read the Wall Street Journal or read the case study that I have for my class that day. So after that, after all my classes, it's usually nothing but working until around 4 o'clock, and then it's done. And then I'm done for the day.
Good. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your major.
Okay. So at least with how UTK structures it, you usually don't take any like majoral classes until your sophomore year. But I can tell you this about my major because I obviously studied it before I decided to go into it. So accounting, if you want a really technical term, like a technical definition for it, is the collection and analyzing of financial information for the purposes of auditing or taxation. Okay, and that's like a super technical definition. A lot of people think, here's one of the biggest myths about accounting, okay? And it's that you have to do a lot of math, and that's not true.
Okay.
You don't have to do a lot of math for accounting. I could tell you that right now. You need a lot of mathematical skills, like conceptual math skills, but you don't need a lot of math skills as it stands.
Okay. Awesome. So do you have any idea what type of job you might want to do at some point? Like obviously you'll do accounting, but do you know if you'd want to work at a firm or an organization? Do you have any idea about that yet?
Well, typically, here's how an accountant's job will go. If you're a really good student here, you'll get an internship at one of the big 4 accounting firms. Then once you graduate, you'll get hired by one of the big 4 accounting firms. And then as you work for the firms, a company will come along and really like what you did in terms of working with their accounting programs and stuff like that. And then they'll eventually hire you on, and that's called being poached. You eventually get poached from one of the accounting firms. And then that's when you land yourself a better job, a more stable job inside one of those companies. But my goal eventually is to do one of 2 things. I haven't decided yet. Either I'm going to go for my master's of accountancy, and when I do, I'm probably going to end up either trying to become a CFO or one day teach like accountancy myself. I'm not sure which one yet, but
You'll be great at either of those.
yes, I'd probably be happy with either.
That's awesome. Well, I love that you explained that. So it's important when you're looking for a school, if you have a specific major that you want to see, what types of programs that they have. You know, do you have internships? Do they have partnerships with other companies? So it sounds like you're in a really good place for what you want to do. So we're excited. Last thing, just can you kind of walk us through junior, senior year, when you started thinking about colleges, what schools were you interested in and how did you land on UTK?
Okay. So I'm gonna start with what schools I was interested in. Um, so one of the biggest things about me is that I absolutely love family. So I wanted to stay like relatively close to them.
Mhm.
So that's definitely one of the biggest things you want to ask yourself. How far away do you want to go? Okay. Make yourself like a little bubble from where you are and decide how far away do you want to go from that, like just from that one center point. And then look at the colleges that might interest you. If I were you, a lot of you are probably going to end up taking dual credits, right? So you're probably going to want to end up going to one of the accredited colleges throughout the entirety of Tennessee. And any accredited college or university has the University of Tennessee at blank. And any one of those colleges will accept any credit or dual credit from Cleveland State. And the same thing goes for any community college. Any community college like Cleveland State Community College or Chattanooga State Community College, they'll accept those credits too. So that's definitely something you want to keep in mind when you're choosing your college as well. Just make sure that your credits transfer over. A lot of the times in private colleges, the credits don't transfer over easily. So just be careful with stuff like that. I would definitely look to see how credits transfer over, especially if you're going to a private institution. But usually you don't have to worry if you're going to an accredited, like a state accredited college or a state accredited university. And then after that, once you've like relatively thought about the college that you want to go to, then look at the city of where it's at. Do you like the city? Does the city look nice? How are the crime rates there? Like you have to think about this in every multiple facet that you can possibly think of, because it's really important that you know stuff like that.
And that's a good point because that's where you're going to be living for potentially the next 4 years if you go to a 4-year school. So that's really great advice. And then tell me, I know that you have a unique relationship with Julian, who's the representative for us for UTK. And that was fun. I just remember junior year, you guys really hitting it off during college app day. So tell us a little bit about the importance of keeping in touch with and building a relationship with the rep from the college that you're deciding to go to. How was that helpful to you?
Okay, so I've said this once and I'll say it again. Half of the reason I'm even in college is because of people like Miss Parker and Julian and all of the counselors there. So just have a really good relationship with all of them. Okay, like I cannot tell you how much of a help it was to stay in touch with Julian over the summer. Okay, like as you know, I got like no parental help when it comes to going to college. Like that's just not something I did. So I had to rely heavily on all the counselors. Miss Laura, I asked her to get me my shot records, and she did just like that. I asked her to get me a specific document, and she got it just like that. And so many other situations, like Julian, he put me in touch with someone at the financial aid department at UTK, and I was able to correspond with her throughout the entire summer and get what I needed to get done.
Mm-hmm.
And it was extremely helpful to just go through the entire checklist with them and know that I had that support system along the whole way.
Well, we're really proud of you. Thank you for the kind words. But I think I speak for everyone at the school when I say that we're just so proud of you. And you made it so easy to work with because you would always communicate and tell us, you know, how you were feeling and what you needed and what you were thinking. And you were just such always a joy to work with. So you made that easy. And I know Julian has been so thankful for the relationship that he's been able to build with you as well. So I think he would say the same thing. So what advice would you have, just before we go, what advice would you have for a high school student right now, whether they're a freshman or a senior or sophomore or junior? What advice do you have for them to make the most of the high school time while they're here?
Challenge yourself.
Good.
Like, I said it in my salutatorian speech, like, challenge yourself, you know? Like, don't settle for college algebra when you're allowed to do dual credits. You know, go for statistics, try out pre-calculus, do finite, you know? Do something that can actually help you. You know, challenge yourself to do the best that you can do.
Yeah. What teacher challenged you the most while you were here?
Oh, oh, that's a question. um, Gosh, if I had to say anyone, it would probably, I don't know, it would probably be Miss Faulkner. I
Okay.
would say that. Like, she challenged me so much when it came to just writing in general,
Yeah.
and she taught me so well how to write. Like, I don't think I'd be half as good of a writer today if it was not for her.
That's awesome. And that's really going to help you in college. I don't think high school students realize how much writing you're going to do in college, regardless of your major. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much, Robert. I really appreciate you just talking with us this morning. I know that students are going to be able to learn a lot just from you and your experience there. So keep us updated and just know that we are very proud of you. Okay, so we'll talk to you again soon, hopefully, okay?
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Miss Parker.